Welcome to the Socialize forecast, April 9th, 2024, the Tuesday edition of the Socialize podcast, where we take you through the trends, original content ideas, and social media updates of the week. Before we get started, just a quick reminder that we do have a free editing workshop coming up on April 19th. That's a Friday at 1 p.m. And that will cover product videos, stop motion videos, how to create engaging content without using your face. So a lot of times you might be doing something, whether it's with food or with your products, your jewelry and things like that, and you're looking for interesting ways to highlight it without necessarily being in the video yourself. And so the goal of this workshop is to teach you some techniques where you can make your content a little more interesting with products without having to be in it. All right. That is the plan for the workshop. And if you want to sign up, it is free. And there's a link in the newsletter. I'll put a link here in the show notes. And that is on April 19th at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Now let's get into the week that is. So we're a day after the total eclipse, which was fun. And hopefully you got to see it where you are. And if not, I'm sure you've seen a lot of content about it. So we're not going to make that the topic of the week, but we will be talking about that a little bit later. I want to start off with the thought that we all try to take advice from the gurus on TikTok, on Instagram, on social media in general. And we like to listen and we like to learn. And one thing I want to impart here to you is that you do not have to believe everything that you see. Everyone who is saying this is going to help you go viral, you do not have to take all that information, even the things that I'm providing to you, as much as I want you to learn from it, grow from it. The goal is not for you to just do what she says. Okay, well, I'm going to listen and do what she says. I'm going to do what that person says. I'm going to do what this person says. You're supposed to take all these ideas, absorb them in, and decide what works for you. The reason I'm even mentioning this today is all these years of creating, some of the biggest things that have been spoken about, even from me, is how to speak to the camera, not to talk, not to look at yourself, look up at the lens, connect with your audience. But recently, there seems to be evolving trend that is content creators who are not looking at the camera. And often it looks like they are just being irreverent, as if they're not even aware that they're recording, or they're purposely trying to seem like they're not recording for an audience. They're lowering their camera at a weird angle, or they're shooting looking off into the distance. So we're seeing this potential trend, and I have a video that explains it a little bit better, which I will link. I have linked it in the newsletter, and I will try to remember to link it in the caption here. But if you think about when you're scrolling, what type of content are you paying attention to? And is that person directly talking to you? So when I first saw this video, Julie sent it to me actually, about this gentleman who was talking about this new look where the person, instead of holding the camera up and speaking into it, it's like down here and they're walking and talking. A lot of times walking and talking videos do better. And when I'm holding my video and I'm walking and talking, I'm not necessarily looking at the phone because I'm really watching where I'm going. So that's a great example of a way to get yourself into a new zone of not looking at the camera. And I'm going to be doing it as an experiment myself and see what type of engagement I get from doing that. I don't really think about that when I just think about what the content is and where I am and how it's going to best be recorded. So I don't know that I'm going to immediately jump on this quote trend and say, oh, now I'm going to record my content not looking at my audience. It's highly doubtful that I'm going to do that, because most of the things that I'm trying to teach or explain, I want to talk to you. I want to look at you when I'm doing that. So the purpose of this part of what I'm trying to say, if I can actually get to my point, but the purpose is you can listen to this advice. It doesn't mean it's right for you. It doesn't mean you should change your content and do all of a sudden do that now. I will have to say, from the beginning of time, since I've been on the social media apps making content, I was always told, stay in your lane and find a niche, lean into it. That's how you're going to grow an audience quicker. And I really didn't follow that advice, mainly because I wasn't enjoying it. I wasn't going to just make tutorials because that's what people seem to like. And by not listening to the advice and continuing to do what I felt like doing, eventually that became the trend and I was ahead of the curve. So because I never embraced what they were saying to do. Okay. So I'm using myself as an example of that you don't have to follow what everybody is saying to do. You can do whatever you want to do. And you might be the one that's making the corner, that's turning the corner and following a path and showing other people. You could be leading a charge on something new. You don't have to be the one that is, okay, now they're saying to do this, let me do that. Oh, now they're saying to do this, let me do that. So you're zigzagging through and you're trying to just throw darts or throw shit at the wall, as they say, and find something that works. Do what you want to do and see if that might become the thing that people like about you. I'm finding it very weird that I listen to lots of people on different social media apps trying to tell you that this is the way to get out of 200 view jail. Do this thing and play that music and do this trend, or do your videos like this, or look at the camera, don't look at the camera. And it's a lot of conflicting advice, and it could make you crazy. And it really, it's going to make it a lot less fun. So the whole point is try and keep it in a place in your heart and soul where you're still having fun. I literally just said to Julie, I think I'm entering my TikTok dance era because lately I see all these dance trends and I just want to do them. So you know what I'm doing? I'm doing them. And I don't care. If someone judges me and thinks, "Oh, now she's dancing too much." Whatever. Let them scroll on. I think that the point I'm trying to make is listen to the advice, take it in, decide if it's right for you, toss out what you don't want to do, take in what you do want to do, and find your own path. Forge your own forest, your own lane in the forest. All right. And don't get hung up on what people are telling you to do all the time. That is my point for today. Now let's get on to the trends. And I'm going to talk about a few things that are fun. I did one of the older trends from a couple of weeks ago. I'm finding that a lot of times I'm not inspired in that moment to do the trend that's really trending hard, but maybe a week later I feel like doing it, so I bring it back. So if you save the newsletters or you want to try a trend that's seems like it's over, it could still work. You don't have to say, "Oh, well, that one's 3 weeks ago, so I'm not going to do it." If you feel like doing it, do it. Don't let that stop you. All right. So the ones for this week are, first one up is just get through the week. This is a very fun and very easy lip sync video to do. You mouth the words to the audio, you add a title about why you need to get through the week and what you're looking forward to. If you're excited for something, whether it be a summer vacation or spring, or maybe you have a trip coming up, whatever. This is a perfect opportunity to just do something quick and irreverent, and you don't have to look at the camera if you don't want to, or you can. The next trend is me versus my parents. Oh my goodness. All right, Julie got me with this one this morning because she tagged me in it and I looked and I wasn't prepared. And what I see, I tap on the video and it's me and her when she was a baby. And I'm immediately with tears in my eyes. But the point of this trend is to show a picture of you at the same age as your parent and what the difference in the lifestyle is, what the different moment is. In her case, she put me holding a baby because I had my first baby at 28, and she now shows herself at 28 not even owning a dog but petting other people's dogs because she's not ready to own a dog. So it was really cute, but it really got me. Oh my gosh, when I saw myself with her as a baby, I was just like, immediate tears. But it's a fun thing to do because it shows how times are changing. It shows that it's just, I think it just shows, number one, it can show your relationship with your parent, or it can show how you've taken a different path than your parent, or maybe you have the same path as your parent. And that's fun to show off too. So enjoy that one if it's something you want to grab. And the last one is kind of funny. It is unsexy products. This one is very cool because we're so used to seeing influencers talking about this product and how cool that product is and whatnot. And this is an opportunity to show something that's not necessarily sleek and trendy and cool and new. It could be something so basic. Literally for me, I'm sorry to say it, but it's like Vaseline on your lips. I mean, there's nothing better than Vaseline on your lips. And this is from someone who works with Blistex, and I know Blistex has a very similar, a kind of petrolatum based product that I also love. But it goes right back to basics, and for me, that's just one of those standby ones. So I think if you have a bunch of products that you use, whether it's in your kitchen or in your business, or it's something basic that gets you through your workday, something unsexy and a staple in your life. This is the chance to show it off. And it is trending. There are creators doing it. So you'll be hopping on a trend, but you can make it your own. All right, let's move on to the original content ideas. And if you were anywhere where the eclipse experience happened, now's your opportunity to jump on it. And I will say, when it comes to something like a very current event, you're better off not curating for too long. It is so good to just post. Don't think about it too much. I saw this little eclipse thing when the eclipse was happening yesterday, and I saw this little trend and I said, I'm just going to do it right now. Boom. I mean, didn't hesitate. I didn't save it. No, I just immediately posted it, because often when you are timely and you are on top of something that is happening right in the moment, you're ahead of the curve. So power it out. Don't belabor over it too much trying to make it perfect. A lot of times just getting it out there is much more important than spending the time to make it perfect. And you can learn that in general about content, but some content you might want to take your time. You might want to curate it a little, wait for the right piece of music for it, or whatever. But when it comes to a current event, you're better off just powering it out and jumping on it. So if you did something for the eclipse and you haven't posted it yet, hurry up. Do it today. This is your sign to not wait until tomorrow. The next one is fun. Promote your bestie. So if you have a friend or a fellow creator on the app, maybe you can get together and arrange to help each other. And you post about them, they post about you, share why your followers should be following your bestie, and spread the love and good karma. And hopefully that comes back around to you. It's really nice to do this. I've had situations where people, I haven't even found that they tagged me in it, and I saw it so much later. And it was like, oh my God, this person made such a beautiful video talking about me, and I hadn't even seen it for weeks after, which gets frustrating when it comes to having so many comments and so many mentions, and it gets really hard to keep up with. But it's, if you have a creator that's on your level that you can do it with, so that it's very reciprocal and you can go back and forth with it, that's a really great way to grow. It's like doing those grow parties. You don't want to get involved in that, where you follow me, I follow you back, because you're just curating an audience that doesn't really care about your content. But if you have a friend and there's a reason you follow them, and you can promote that to your followers, then the people who are going to follow that person are going to do it because they care about you and they want to support that person. So they will likely be a good follow, rather than a crappy follow train where everyone's following each other and then you have a bunch of uninterested people following you. Okay, so don't get caught up in a follow train, whatever you do. The last one is playlist on repeat, and this is Julie's great idea, which is there's a lot of new music coming out, and that's kind of why I got inspired to do some of these dance trends, because I saw, oh my gosh, this is such a great new song. I'm gonna do a dance to it, and then in my comments, somebody said, "Oh, you should also do this new JoJo Siwa song," and I was like, "Okay, I'll do that too." So when there's new music coming out, it's helpful. It's good to hop on it, because these music labels are paying creators, certain creators, to promote the music. That's just the whole thing. Like how we used to promote music on radio stations, now we're promoting it through social media apps. So the music labels are going after creators. They're having them do dances or whatever with the music to promote the music. So if that music's hot, then that music is getting pushed out. So you can share your favorite songs that you've been following or that are up and coming, and you can support your favorite music artists in that way. So I just love getting music suggestions. And that's why I always share some music options in the newsletter every week. I just think it's important for us to share across what the music is that we love, because a lot of times there are old songs that are coming back and you don't even know that they're trending. And all of a sudden now, today, of course, yesterday and today, the Total Eclipse of the Heart song was suddenly trending. So classic, gotta love that. And the Come On Eileen thing has come back around. And that's why I was inspired to do a little dance for that one. So get on your phones, look at your playlists, see what you're liking, and maybe make your own recommendations to your friends. Okay, now on to the tutorial of the week, which is how to do. Here's an interesting thing. I'm stopping myself in my tracks. When I saw this specific trend, which was the The Blue Monday was joom, 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 joom. And one person gets into fight mode and then joom, 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 joom. And the other person gets into fight mode and they do a little back and forth with the battle with the text. So of course, had fun, did that with Jonathan. But the song was in my head and I was doing a test on my hair, straight to curly, straight to curly. And I decided I need a song where I can go wipe my hand in front of the camera and have it go back and forth, straight to curly, straight to curly. And there was an old trend a couple of years ago that did that. And I could not for the life of me find the sound. So I just said, what is there a sound now that could work for that? So I took what was a trending sound and I didn't do the trend. And there's a lesson here. You can just take the trending sound and make something different, make your own trend. Some people thought it was a trend when they saw me doing it. They were like, oh, I love this trend. Guess what? This isn't a trend. This is not the trend, but this is just something I wanted to do with it because I had a vision for this hand wiping thing. And it was in my mind. So I took that song and I decided to do my own version with the hand wiping. And now I had a bunch of people in my comments, please, please teach us how to do it. So I made a tutorial and it's funny because it is a tutorial for something that is not a trend. It was just something fun that I wanted to do. So if you want to do that choo 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 thing, I had a bunch of people do it. So maybe now it is kind of trending. Did I just make a trend? I don't know. I don't think so. But I certainly had fun doing it. And I highly suggest that if you want to do something, don't necessarily wait for it to be a trend. We can all be trendsetters. What the hell? You know, who's saying who's in charge of the trends? I don't know. I think we can all be trendsetters. In terms of questions for this week, I haven't had a lot of burning new questions to address, except for one that keeps coming up. And I'm going to just talk about it briefly, but I am going to dedicate Friday's newsletter to the topic, which is creating a newsletter audience, gathering your followers and bringing them over to a newsletter platform so that you have their emails, so that you have a way to reach your audience that is not dependent on the TikTok algorithm. It's food for thought for anyone who is providing the type of content where you might want to be able to reach your followers for another purpose. And that purpose doesn't necessarily have to be to sell them something. It could just be that you're trying to create a community of like-minded people. You want to be able to reach them to share information. So don't think of this as I've got to curate an audience of people that I'm going to sell things to. That's not necessarily the case. I started a newsletter. I started the idea of an email list. I mean, I think it's been almost 2 years where I started it and I didn't even know what I was going to do with an email except be able to reach people if, let's say, my tutorials weren't being seen, and I know that a certain portion of my audience want to see my tutorials. So I wanted to make sure I could reach them and say, here's the tutorials in case you missed them on the app, and I would send out the tutorials weekly. So in the same way, we're sending out this newsletter to help you with trends and content ideas and tutorials and music suggestions and just general social media updates. This could not have been possible if I did not start curating an email list so that I could reach people outside of an app. So dedicating next week to that. Well, so not next week, actually, this week. That's dedicating this Friday to that. And we're going to give you some tips on how to do that if it's something you're interested in. So stay tuned for Friday. Thank you so much for being here. As always, if you landed here via a podcast platform, don't forget to just subscribe so that you get the newsletter and you have all the links so that you know what I'm talking about when I'm chit-chatting here on the pod. That is hellosocialize.com. Have a great week, and I will see you on Friday. Thanks for being here.